Wagwan people, it's your girl Danger, and today we are in the streets of Halfway Tree to talk about the Dolla Financial $1 Million Woman campaign. And guess what? If you are a female, small or micro business owner, this is your chance to win big, because 3 lucky ladies will get the opportunity to win a whopping $1 million to invest in their company. And all you have to do to enter is to just apply for a $200,000 loan and submit your business idea to www.dollafinancial.com. And if you want any more information, don't be afraid to check us out on Instagram at Dolla Financial or at $1 Million Woman JA. And we're also there on Twitter at Dolla Financial _. Bye, guys.
Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the Dolla Financial Services Q1 2023 earnings call hosted by L.E.A.R.N Grow Invest Limited. I'm Jermaine McDonald, CEO of L.E.A.R.N Grow Invest Limited, and it is my pleasure to be hosting this call today. With me is the Dolla Financial team. So I'll ask at this time Kadeen Mears, CEO of Dolla Financial, to join me.
Jermaine, how are you doing today?
Good morning.
Good morning.
Yes,
good
how are you
morning.
doing?
Good morning to the viewers that decided to show up today.
Yes, we have quite a few of them, and I know everybody is ready and anxious to get started, so I'll hand over to you.
Thank you so much, Jermaine. As you know, as customary, we'll start things off with a prayer. So let's begin. As we gather for this earnings call, we ask for your guidance, O Lord, and your blessing. Help us in our assessment, the way that we communicate to our shareholders and our investors. We pray that you grant us wisdom, grant us all the decision-making skills that we need to continue to operate a profitable business. And we thank you for your continued guidance. In your name we pray, O Lord. Amen. All right, so good morning again, everyone. I'm Kadeen Mears, and I'm the CEO of Dolla Financial Services. And on the call today, we have Trevine McKenzie, who is our CFO, and we also have Tashoni Ellis, who's our marketing manager. So as I said on Twitter, every quarter, we decide to have our earnings call, as it is important for us to discuss, the quarterly performance of the company. I mean, it highlights obviously the success in good or prosperous times, but in times that we're not doing so well, or in adverse times, we also present on our quarterly, do our earnings call so that we can calm fears, during that time. So our earnings call is very, very important to us. Just a point to note, our annual report is out for 2022, and it has been uploaded on the JC website, and as well as dollafinancial.com, and this includes our PwC audited financial statements as well. All right, so just some general remarks in terms of our performance for the last quarter. I mean, Trevine will go into more detail, but we've opened our 10th branch for last year in Falmouth, and this obviously will give stakeholders in that community the opportunity to get the credit that they need to continue to grow their business. We managed to cross the $2 billion mark with our loan portfolio, as at the first quarter we are at 2.3 billion, and for the first quarter, the first 3 months, we recorded a profit of 125 $5 million. Our net profit run rate currently is exceeding 40 plus million. So of course, I want to use this platform as well just to say kudos to the team. It would not have been possible without them. And of course, our investors for the continued confidence that they have in the company. And most importantly, our customers who we continue to seek new and innovative ways to continue to serve them well. So at this time, we're going to do things a bit differently. As I said, we have our marketing manager, Tashoni Ellis, and she will be going through, some of our marketing, our strategic initiatives that we've undertaken in the last 3 months, as well as some things that we would have undertaken last year.
Thank you for that introduction, Kadeen, and good morning to our viewers online. I am pleased to provide you with an update on our company's marketing progress over the last quarter. At Dolla, we are proud to be a socially responsible group that is dedicated to supporting the growth and development of our communities. Firstly, I am happy to report that our community outreach efforts have been instrumental in our significant milestones for our company, including an increase in brand recognition, an increase in brand loyalty, and brand awareness. And this is also reflected in our outstanding financial performance, which will be discussed later on in the presentation. So one of our recent activities was our participation in the 18th Regional Investments and Capital Market Conference, which was hosted by the Jamaica Stock Exchange. At the conference, we were able to showcase our products and services, and we were able to highlight our unique value proposition to potential clients and investors. This effort really resulted in increased brand recognition, increased brand credibility, as well as awareness within the investment community. So one of our most noteworthy sponsorship for the quarter was our sponsorship of the Maths and Money Challenge in the Tivoli Gardens community. This is in Kingston. This was an overwhelming success, and we were able to give a donation of $480,000 towards the funding of investment accounts for the youths in the community. What this did, our participation really raised brand awareness in the community, as well as it helped us to build a stronger relationship with the local youths and also to foster a connection with them. So in turn, this will build brand loyalty and also empower them to become future financial leaders in the community. And moving forward, we were committed to empowering women in business as they are often overlooked and under-resourced. So to solidify this commitment, we launched our $1 Million Woman campaign on March 8th of this year, which is also known as International Women's Day. You can see the irony there. But yes, we did launch this campaign on International Women's Day. And the campaign is really geared towards assisting female business owners who apply for a loan of up to $200,000, an opportunity to win a share of $3 million. This means we'll have one winner of $1 million each at the end of the campaign. So our goal is really to provide them with resources, including workshops, connecting them to partners, key partners such as Ramesh, such as L.E.A.R.N, Grow, Invest, who are also one of our partners here today, and also the Jamaica Stock Exchange. Our idea behind giving them these resources is to assist them to turn this $200,000 into $1 million at the end of the campaign. And really, the campaign is really to assist women, is really to empower women to take action to grow and start their businesses. So in conclusion, we want to just continue our efforts in helping these women entrepreneurs. Also, we want to continue to help the youths on their financial literacy journey, as well as we'll also be doing more. You can look out for more marketing initiatives that are geared towards these areas for the next upcoming quarter. Thank you.
Today we had the signing of our $1 Million Woman contract between our ambassador Ramesh Major and our CEO Kadeen Mears.
Dolla was formed to open doors, and this is just one other way in which, through a joint venture with Ramesh, that we're bringing this opportunity where we can empower women through them starting their own business or expanding their current business.
From when we started out Ramesh Entertainment to now, more than 4,000 or 5,000 girls have worked with me. And I've become someone great.
The main objective for us through this is to see how we can turn as much women as possible into millionaires, and that's why it's called the $1 Million Woman campaign.
Once you are a female business owner, 18 years or older, you can enter this competition. For more details, just visit our Instagram page at Dolla Financial or our website at www.dollafinancial.com.
Morning, everyone. So let's jump into our highlights. It was another solid quarterly performance for Dolla, as we produced and promised on our last earnings call. We ended this quarter with revenues of $297 million, which is a 110% increase over March 2022. Our loan portfolio also saw significant growth by 161%, up to $2.3 billion, and consequently our assets also grew to $2.5 billion. Profit stood at $125 million, which really demonstrates that we have a run rate that is poised to hit $500 million this year. We also maintained single-digit ECL for this quarter of 4.1%. However, NPLs did increase from 6.5% to 9.7% this past quarter due to a couple significant loans going into arrears. And we'll talk about that a little bit later. And as usual, our efficiency ratio stood at about 44%, which is still quite optimal given the microfinance space. So our loan book saw growth to $2.3 billion, which really demonstrated the work of the sales team and the marketing push that Dolla has been doing. You have seen Tashoni, on the streets, on Instagram, really making waves and getting that the Dolla brand further out there, as we've been seeing that happening over the past year. Cash also saw an increase year over year to $52 million. And this is really as a result of the efforts of the collections team. Borrowings would have increased by 240%. And of course, this is as a result of the $1.5 billion bond that we would have issued last October. For payables and accruals, we did see a 175% increase year over year. And this is partly due to the dividend declaration that we would have made last February of $50 million. And of course, accrued expenses during the quarter, such as audit fees, etc. Share capital and retained earnings, of course, hold the same reasoning as we have been saying over the past few quarters. Our IPO last year would have seen us increase share capital by about $250 million. And as you would have been following, our retained earnings would have increased solely due to the comprehensive income over the period. Our interest income increased by 100% as a result of the continuous lending activity throughout the period. Our profits held true at 125% after expenses, which would have amounted to just about $125 million also. We would have, of course, seen an increase in expenses year over year as our operations have grown substantially. Staff costs in particular due to the build out and expansion of the team, which you have been seeing in the media, and we have been reiterating on each earnings call. Marketing and professional fees also saw an increase, and the depreciation also would have increased due to the build out of our branches or branch networks. All these investments are visible to the public as our marketing efforts, as I mentioned before, have been seen. We have our new branches, as I mentioned before, that have been announced, and we have embarked on quite a bit of fundraisers over the year that would have also led to the increase in expenses. We also ended the period with 52 million in cash, as compared to March 2022, where we landed at 2 million. Now this increase is directly attributable to the team's collection efforts throughout the period. We would have seen a decrease over last quarter though, but this is solely due to the fact that we would have repaid the principal balances of 2 loans that we would have held until January 2022. And these were smaller loans, just about 250 million. And I know our investors are really interested in our segments. So in terms of Dolla Guyana, they would have contributed 9 million to our overall profit before tax for the quarter. And Ultra would have contributed 22 million, with loan books of 417 million and 154 million respectively, 417 being Ultra. Now Guyana represents 7% of our total loan portfolio, while Ultra represents 18%. And this is a big deal for Ultra, who started operations just 5 months ago in November 2022. We spoke about our efficiency ratio earlier, and our constant efforts in optimizing OPEX and maintaining lean expenses. This landed at 44%, and we feel that this number is quite comfortable, and we have been maintaining sub 50 in terms of our efficiency ratio since we have gone public since last year. The company continues to operate at a high standard of delinquency as it relates to NPL, even though we do have an increase to 9.7%. This is an increase from 5.1% over the prior year, but this is mainly due to specific large loans whose collateral are in the process of liquidation. We have built out our collections team, and they are currently making all efforts to recover and return NPL to single-digit numbers. So the team is working assiduously to ensure that this is done. All other ratios remain within an acceptable range, and we will continue to share these with you so you have insight into the analysis and what the larger numbers mean for you. In terms of our financial outlook, we mentioned on our last call that we do expect a 35% growth year over year. However, we are seeing a run rate of about 40 to 42% per month, which will take us into about 500 million in terms of profit before tax this year. So we are working towards ensuring that we are able to return that value to you. And in closing, it was a good quarter for Dolla. We have a strong platform for 2023. And we remain focused on delivering continuously strong performance to our shareholders.
Thank you so much, Trevine. Earlier that call, I called it Trevine McIntosh. Actually, I have another CFO in the group whose last name is McIntosh. Well, thanks, Trevine, for that very concise but direct financial overview of the first quarter. And, I'll just go through the outlook, for next quarter, and for the next, I'd say, for the next quarter and for the rest of the financial year. In terms of our focus on regional and local expansion, of course, our shareholders know that, our ambition is to be, a regional microfinance company with subsidiaries that offer different forms of credit as well. So in terms of Caribbean expansion, we have, obviously, we've been talking about, countries that we're looking at, especially, say, for example, St. Lucia and Barbados. But, as a part of the new microcredit act that was passed, back in the day, we used to could just go and open a location. But now what we have to do is that we'll have to get regulatory approval to open a new branch, even if it's offshore or in another country. So, we're currently in the process of, supplying our regulators with, the necessary documentations for the jurisdictions that we want to operate in. So those efforts continue. Obviously, a little bit slower than we would have liked, but with the oversight, we're just waiting on the blessings of BOJ to just continue on our regional expansion. In terms of strategic partnerships to add value, we did the partnership with Fostridge. We have other partnerships that are on the way. We did a partnership with a travel company that allows persons who want to go on a vacation to get that short-term loan until so that they can, get the relaxation that they need. We have a lot of other synergies that are in the pipeline that through marketing efforts, I know that Tashroni will highlight those in the coming quarter. In terms of increased community outreach programs, we're definitely looking at other ways that we can be more a part of the community, to give back and to play our part in social development of our country. And we're looking to adopt a clinic, and that's something that once all the due process is complete, we should be able to announce. But we get a lot of requests. A lot of the work that we do is actually behind the scenes in terms of our community outreach. Not all is publicized, but it is a part of our culture to pay it forward. So Dolla continues to provide shareholder value. As you know, Dolla Financial, our stock is probably one of those few stocks that continue to provide significant value to shareholders. We're probably one of the few stocks that give significant capital gains in terms of growth in our stock price, and at the same time giving dividend returns. It's important for us to, our investors had cut a check, to invest in our company, and it feels good when we're able to perform and cut a check to our investors. So, paying dividends is very important to us. It's not about the money, but it's about, having our investors feel and see the results of our performance. So that's very important to us as well. In terms of outlook when it comes to acquisitions, we definitely are viewing acquisitions at the moment. Of course, that there's a lot of disclosures that need to be made, but we're definitely working on opportunities, and as soon as these become material, of course, we will announce it. But just want to let the investors know that we will fulfill our promise on regional expansion and acquisition. Of course, for us to continue to do all of these activities, we need capital. So, as was announced, I think sometime in Q1, we're looking to do a private raise, not in the by bond or by equity, but more from a financial institution, to get around $5 million US or 750 million. So that can definitely fuel any potential acquisition that we might have and any regional expansion. As you know, in the money lending business, we borrow and then we unlend. So as we continue to grow, our loan book is at 2.3 billion now. If we want to continue to increase our growth rate, we will have to increase our loan portfolio. And in order to increase our loan portfolio, we will have to increase our capital base. So that will always be a continuous task if we want to continue to grow on the rate that we're growing at. So that's it in terms of our financial outlook for the rest of the year and for Q2. All right, so thank you, Kadeen and Dolla team. So we're gonna go straight into the Q&A now. I believe we have some questions already. Well, even Jermaine, before we take some of the questions, just in closing, I want to thank everybody for joining us today on our earnings call. And just to take a moment to reflect on the financial performance, we've exceeded our expectations in terms of revenue growth and profitability, and our team has worked extremely hard to achieve these results. And I want to extend again, my gratitude to them for their continued, dedication and commitment. And looking ahead, we continue to be optimistic, about the future of our company. We're very optimistic. We're a young team, but we have a very experienced, board and governance team that provides the guidance, and we're excited about the projects that are in the pipeline. There is a pipeline, and we're confident that we will continue to deliver a lot of value to our shareholders. So finally, just want to emphasize that the success would not have been possible without the support of the team, the investors that reach out on Twitter, Instagram, you name it. I go through the airport and investors are giving me feedback. We take those feedback very seriously. Most importantly, our customers, as I said before, and we're deeply grateful for the trust and the confidence in our company, and we look forward to working with the Dolla family, internal, external, all stakeholders. And once again, thanks everybody for joining us, and we look forward to speaking again, next quarter. So thanks, Jeremy, and I guess we can jump.
Well, 1 second, we're not quite done yet. I think that's a perfect segue into some questions. We do have some, as I said before, but I think it was very important that you said what you just said, just kind of thanking the team and everyone involved, and showing that it's a team effort. It's everybody moving in the same direction. So thank you for sharing that. So our first question is from TY. So based on the loans disbursed in 2022, cash balance is currently low. What's the plan for raising capital for 2023 and beyond? Do we bring in Trevine for this one as well?
I think I just touched on that, so I think I can address that one.
Okay.
As I said before, we could continue in terms of the current profitability that we are and kind of plateau. And what that means is that we'll just continue to on-lend based on the cash that we collect, and just, the growth would slow and become a bit more flat. So the very important question based on 2022, cash balance is low right now. What's the plan? And that's why I said, and in a recent announcement, we said that we are in talks and we're very advanced in raising about 750 million. And this capital will be used to continue to grow the loan portfolio. In terms of cash flow for operations, etc., based on inflows, we're fine. But if we want to continue to grow the loan book, bring it from 2.3 billion to $2.3 billion to $3 billion, we have to raise more capital. So we're looking to do that through debt because we have enough equity to take on more debt.
Okay.
Yeah, and I think I just like to go ahead, Jeremy.
No, over here. I was just gonna say that person should understand that as a lending company, their inflows every month through loan payments. So what you're saying, Kadeen, is just for persons to understand that in terms of daily operations, your cash is fine. It's just about growth of the company and profitability. You'll need more cash to do that.
Correct.
Right. Yes. And I think the investors, we always say on this call that cash is our inventory, and we ensure that we maintain an optimal level based on how we need the company to grow and what we need for our operation. So it may seem low, but really it is not, because we understand how much money we need to have sitting, and we don't want to have too much sitting idly, because every dollar that's sitting in the bank that's earning 1% interest, we could have been earning so much more out there in the market. So just always remember.
Okay, understood. All right, Elaine is asking, are there any plans to increase borrowing for 2023? If yes, by which method? I think that was addressed already by our previous points raised. TY is asking how non-performing loans percentage is calculated.
All right, so you have ECL, I have NPL. NPL is a non-performing loans, and this is the easier calculation to do. It's all loans past 90 days. So once a loan payment has not been made in 90 days, we provision it under the NPL. These loans, whether it is secured or unsecured, whether it is recoverable or not recoverable, once for whatever reason 90 days pass and a payment has not been made, it goes into it's categorized under the NPL.
Okay, so it's not that you are not going to get back that money, but you have to at least record it as non-performing because it's past the 90 days.
Yeah, and it's really just a metric that we use to see what the company the loan book is like. So if we have non-performing loans of 90 days of 100 and we have a loan book of 110, it's the 100 over 110, and that's how we get the percentage, to simplify it.
Okay, great, thank you. From Limitless Podcast, what is Dolla's next big push?
I think our next big push is definitely fulfilling on our promise of an acquisition that will excite our shareholders and excite the Limitless Podcast. So I think that's our next big push.
Okay. Gregory is asking, does Dolla have plans to diversify, like buying into new or existing companies? I believe you might have addressed this one as well.
Yeah, I mean, look, we have a business model that works for us. We stick to our business model. If we're diversifying, it's diversifying in terms of the way that we lend. And we plan to stay into that business. We're not in private equity, so we're not looking to buy any companies unless they're money lending companies.
Okay. Limitless is asking, how has the demand for the phosphate solar loan package been?
The demand is great. At the end of the day, each loan takes assessment. So not every applicant that comes to us will qualify. But in terms of demand, the demand was significant.
Okay. Elaine is asking, what is the growth prospect for the Guyana branch?
Guyana it's a new jurisdiction still. Our country manager Aldine Tomlinson, he relocated from Jamaica to Guyana to run the operations there. He has been viewing different locations there, but at the same time, it's a different culture, different environment. It's the land size is probably 70 times that of Jamaica, but yet they have the population of just Kingston alone. So the industries are very different as well. Oil, they're big in agriculture, so a lot for us to learn as well. So our main aim is to stay profitable and just to grow at a sustainable rate. So we're definitely not aggressive in Guyana, but it's more to continue to grow on a steady pace.
Okay. From the community, did you get the cheap US loan that was touted? I believe that's the same $5 million US loan that you're speaking.
Yeah. That is in advanced stages right now. Of course, only Dolla gives a loan the next day, so we have to wait.
Okay. Next question, read the proposed acquisition. How advanced is the process, and is the June timeline still accurate?
I mean, I can't. In terms of timeline, if you're viewing an acquisition, there are a lot of things that are at stake. Due diligence. You have legal. You have accounting due diligence. That process alone takes a lot, and just the process of doing an acquisition can sometimes be not as expected. In terms of the timeline, I wouldn't be able to say.
Okay. All right. Again, from the community, do you have any plans to lower your operating expenses, seeing that your OPEX of about 130 million is higher than net profit of 125 million?
In terms of lowering the operating expenses, I have been mentioning on this call that they're very lean at the moment. So we spend on an as needed basis. So I wouldn't say we have plans to lower operating expenses, but we have plans to increase revenue, which will offset So that's the plan, not to lower operating expenses, but to increase revenues.
Okay. From the community, again, how often do you intend to pay dividends for the year?
I mean, the decision to pay dividends is obviously up to the board of directors of the company. I think what is stipulated is that we will pay up to 50% of our profits in the form of dividends. The decision to pay dividends and how often it is paid is dependent on, most importantly, cash flow and other opportunities that might exist that might supersede paying out a dividend. However, what is guaranteed is that at least 50% will be paid out to the shareholders. If everything is great, we definitely can pay quarterly. If we have big plans, we might not pay it until Q4 or twice per year. So it's all dependent on by the board of directors.
Okay, because I was going to ask, how do you find that balance between paying dividends and having the same cash to be able to lend?
Yeah, so that's the thing, striking the right balance, and that's why Traveen is in office early and leaves late. But it's striking the balance because you want to perform, but you still want to provide a return to your shareholders because them have to go to the supermarket just the same way, right? So it's just striking the balance, planning properly, planning our cash flow, and just ensuring that our liquidity is where it should be.
Okay. What is the current progress on local expansion where new branches are concerned? So you mentioned opening your 10th location in Falmouth. What are the plans for maybe additional locations?
So through our partnership with L.E.A.R.N, I think we started that partnership probably over a year ago. Or the next location that we're eyeing is actually Mapen. They've just opened, don't quote me, but I think it's probably like 25,000 square foot facility. And we're definitely probably going to take up a 800 square foot office space where, we can offer our services there. So that's actually the next location that we're eyeing currently.
Any timeline for that location being available to the public?
I mean, as I said before, before the regulatory oversight, we could just open a branch and announce it. But no, even so, we have to get the blessings of the Bank of Jamaica. So as soon as that comes through, opening a branch is like clockwork for us now. We have it down pat in terms of what's needed to open a new branch, in terms of human resources, infrastructure, building out a location, so cost, everything. So we have that down pat. It's just now to just wait on the regulatory approval to go ahead and open. So in terms of timeline, definitely probably in Q2.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So has Ultra yet burned through the additional funds of 112 million that they were given?
Yeah, but 100%. I mean, the good thing with Dolla is that a simple shareholder can just look at our books and understand that we raised $1.5 billion. We raised 500 million in an IPO, and we unlent that in 3 months. We did $1.2 billion in a bond, and now our loan book is at 2.3 billion. That means the entire cash that was in bank is now where the loan book is at. So it's a lot easier to assess that, currently, in order for, based on the demand for the services. Even though Ultra is for a niche industry and it's first of its kind, it has performed more than we, expected, above our expectations, which is good.
Okay. So TY is saying, unlike some other CEOs, I hope you will continue to make yourself available on a quarterly basis, regardless of the result reported.
Right. So remember I said, and I tweeted it as well, this is not just for the prosperous times, but also, to in the days that things are not so great, that, I will still show my face to calm any fears that might exist, because every day is not going to be a good day. Every quarter is not going to be a good quarter. I mean, I don't think there's any company that exists that from existence for for years or decades has never had a bad quarter. TY, I just hope when we have a bad quarter, you remember the good times, and continue to support me as a CEO so that we can turn around the bad times into good. But yes, definitely will make myself available.
Great. And we look forward to being there to continue to support you as well. So Michael is saying Dolla is seeking to raise 750 million. What is the interest rate like?
Single digit interest rate. Obviously, interest rates have gone up, so we're not going to get a 5% interest rate. We've never gotten a 5% interest rate. We've always been borrowing. I mean, we did a bond for 1.2 billion, and I think the interest was around, Traveen can help me, probably 11 or 12%.
11.75, yeah.
Yeah. So whatever money we're looking to borrow outside of the bond is definitely single digit, so closer to 8 or 9%.
Okay. Johnson is asking, what's the estimated timeline for approval given to set up shop in respective countries? Same for acquisitions. Are we hoping to materialize same this year?
Yeah, I mean, everything that we have mentioned is definitely for this year. It's not next year. A lot of things are outside of our control. So, we continue to supply what is needed to get the job done, to, whether it's regulators or otherwise. However, we still have to wait on them, to give us any approval. So definitely know that everything will work out this year. In terms of exact timeline, I don't want to make a commitment on that.
Okay. Aline is asking, what's the planned growth rate? With the planned growth rate, how will Dolla prevent an increase in NPL? So I think he's saying with how much you're planning to grow, how will you manage your NPL?
All right. So when you compare Dolla Financial to any other lender, whether commercial, micro, finance, we're probably the only company that has a 80% secured loan portfolio. That means that we have assets that we can liquidate in the event of a default. So in terms of NPL, a person might have given us a property for a loan, for example, and 90 days has passed. We will book that under NPL as non-performing. However, if the customer does not display any ability to repay that loan, we will liquidate the asset, and that will eliminate their contribution to the NPL. So in essence, what I'm saying is that we have collateral. So if a loan is in default, we will liquidate the collateral and clear the loan, and that will reduce the NPL.
Okay. And NPL is not going to be a static number for you, right? It's going to be adjusted on a quarter-to-quarter basis.
Correct. So this quarter, the NPL is about 9%. The NPL doesn't directly affect the income statement. It's more the ECL, which takes into consideration a lot more factors, whether it's secured, unsecured, and ECL also makes provision for a lot more things in terms of market condition, and we have to provision a portion of the loan for ECL. So generally, as I said, quarter over quarter, it will change. However, the main thing to note is that is it possible to recover these monies that are outstanding? And the answer is yes.
Yeah, and I think just to add to that as well, when we started coming onto this forum, our secured loans were about 67%, and it has jumped to 80%. So that really explains our strategy in managing NPLs and ensuring that we can recover those funds.
So that gives you some mitigation against the NPL by having more and more loans being secured.
Correct.
I remember there was someone on Twitter who was asking about, oh my gosh, I'm trying to remember. It was Simon asking about maybe your refinancing options. I'm not sure. I'll try to find the question, but I remember he asked it recently. I'd asked it previously. I'd invited him to join the session to ask it, but I have not seen him. So we'll try to find that question, but I don't know if you can say anything about your refinancing options or what does that
so we don't
entail?
we don't our practice is not to refinance loans. Refinance is only done on a case-by-case basis where a customer displays a new option or a new ability or they've displayed to us that their situation has changed and they are now able to fulfill on their commitments for their loan payments. That's the only way that we consider it. But put it this way, if you have a property and somebody default, unless they show that their situation has changed, it's easier to liquidate an asset rather than continuously refinancing a loan. So that is not our practice. And for loans that are unsecured, for most cases, these are so to understand Dolla's business model as well and our loan portfolio, our competitors lend 9 out of 10 of their loans to consumers. So they target people who are 9 to 5. They, a nurse or a police officer or a security officer. Those are the persons that they target. Our customer base, 9 out of 10 are micro, small, and medium companies. These persons, if the guy who is jerking chicken defaults on a loan, trust me, him going to come back at some point to repay him loan because he's there every day. And these people make cash flow on a daily basis. They will come up on challenging times. We will have loans that will go bad, but these loans, for most cases, are very small.
Okay. So what you're saying is that your first option is usually to liquidate the asset, not necessarily refinance, and then you take it on a case-by-case basis.
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, Cads, just to be reminded, what's the average time given for loans to be paid back, noting that this may depend on the respective loan types?
The average period for a loan is 6 to 9 months, generally. That's the average time given for a loan to be paid back.
Okay. I believe we covered it in our first interview. So, Kat, you may want to check that out. We've done a couple of interviews with Kadeen. I think the very first one sometime around IPO last year. You should check that out. We discussed company, how typical loans, typical customer, etc. All right, so Aline is asking what is the timeline for the big push? The big push was the acquisition, as you mentioned, Kadeen, but
them a pressure me on the timeline, man. They just want me to make a commitment, They're trying to pull a commitment out of me. But I want to say, Aline, that it will happen this year. It might happen tomorrow or in the next 3 months. I can't say. But we're doing the best we can to, I know that you're anxious, but we're doing the best that we can to, get things out.
And bear in mind, Aline, we're at month 5 in the year, so 7 months to go, right? So Aline is asking you, it would be nice to have Guyana on the next earnings call. I believe we already spoke about that, Kadeen, so you can go ahead and give details.
So actually, prior to this call and talking with Jermaine and the L.E.A.R.N Grow Invest team, it's just that it was short notice, but as you can see, we had Tashoni on the call. So as we continue to build out our earnings call, we will have a different voice than my voice participating and speaking on the different subsidiaries. So for the next call, we're definitely going to have our country manager from Guyana, and you guys can ask a lot more Guyana-specific questions. We're going to have our CEO for Ultra on the call, so you can ask a lot more Ultra-specific questions, and they can give you a first-hand feel of what it is like running those subsidiaries of Dolla.
Great. All right, Peter is saying this may be unpopular, but wouldn't it be best to delay a dividend payment for a few years and use the monies to grow the company without the need for debt?
It's a balance. It's definitely a balance. I mean, if we are outperforming what we had budgeted to make, then definitely I think that we're able to make some form of dividend payment. If our profitability is not where so to make it simple, if for this year we had budgeted to make 300 million in profit, and we did 500 million in profit. I think the shareholders can enjoy some of that in terms of a dividend check. So yeah, I get what you're saying, and that's also a prudent way of operating. But it's all about how well have you exceeded how well you have exceeded the expectation in terms of your performance.
Okay. Elaine is asking, with the increase in financial fraud, what preventative measures are in place to prevent this from happening to Dolla?
Well, one thing is fraud, but also, in terms of, theft and everything that's happening now, what we've implemented is that we're cashless. We don't accept cash at any of our locations. We don't pay out cash. So we're totally cashless. You have to have a bank account. If you come to Dolla and you don't have a bank account, you have to sign for us to send it to your cousin or your auntie's bank account. So we're totally cashless. You want to make a payment, you have to go to the bank or any of our payment options, whether it's Bill Express, Paymaster, or online. So we remain cashless. What this allows us to do is kind of have a more centralized control over our operations. So you go to a branch, you apply for a loan. That loan is not dispersed from the branch. It is dispersed centrally from our head office that has a lot more oversight and control.
Yeah, I think to add to that too, there are 3 ways actually. So we are cashless. That's the first thing. With all the regulations and changes in AML, etc., there is also know your employee and know your customer. So with the know your employee, we ensure that we do background checks on all our employees. So we understand what has been happening before they have joined the company. And that has helped us to deter any fraudulent activity that may come about from that side of it as well. So our compliance team is working very hard to ensure that everything is in place to ensure we don't have those matters happening.
Okay. And just for everybody's knowledge, you mentioned AML. What does AML mean?
Anti-money laundering.
Okay.
And also we have a lie detector test that the staff have to do every morning when they're signing.
Interesting.
I'm just kidding.
Okay. All right. TY is saying, based on your experience, how long does it usually take to liquidate collateral? So just in case someone is in arrears and you have to liquidate, what's the average time that it would take?
It depends on the type of collateral. Obviously, if you're selling a property, it'll take probably 2-3 months. For a motor vehicle, first of all, we don't take any type of motor vehicle. So, if it's an Axio, it will sell the next day. So depending on the type of vehicle, motor vehicles normally you get that liquidate in a week or 2, but property probably takes a little bit longer. There's a lot more process involved.
Okay. Do you write off unsecured loans not paid, or do you try to retrieve through courts? Through the courts.
I mean, accounting-wise, once we make a provision, some of those loans are technically written off, but we actually continue to make an effort to collect on all monies owed, whether it's through the court or just continuous efforts to make a payment schedule for the customer. But yeah, in events that we need to get to the courts, which we try not to, we prefer to work something out with the customer. We definitely don't forget about monies owed to us. In essence, we continue to try to use as much methods as possible to recollect.
Okay. Limitless Podcast is asking, are you expecting Q2 to be a record quarter of profitability?
I wish I could ask Limitless to tell me what he thinks if he's watching the performance and the month over month.
You seem to be headed there.
Yeah. I mean, for Q2 June, we would have landed at PBT of 66 million, and the 6 months ended, it was 132 million. So I mean, we've almost surpassed it.
Yeah, year over year, definitely. Yeah.
All right. I believe that's our final question. So I want to thank everyone for asking their questions. If you're watching the replay and you have a question, feel free to post it in the comments under the video. Kadeen is very easy to reach out to on Twitter, on general social media platforms. I believe the only one I don't see very active on, Kadeen, is LinkedIn. I see you on Twitter. I see you on every other platform. But feel free to reach out to the Dolla team, or just mention it below the video. We do work closely with the Dolla team, so we can get your questions answered through whether sending an email or a message. So feel free to have your questions submitted and get the information that you need.
Yeah, I mean, Jermaine, the shareholders are pressing me for acquisition, so I can't take on the next platform right now. I'm focused on that.
Okay, fair enough. All right, Kadeen, so I'll hand over to you at this time for just final words.
My closing remarks before.
You did, but it's a good touch to end with you. Yeah. So that's how we'll do it.
Yeah. I mean, once again, thanking my team, Trevin and Tashoni, for being here, for the full support. Kenroy is in the back, our operations manager. I'd like to thank my major shareholders, Ryan and Chris over by First Rock PE, the rest of my directors, board of directors, who continuously assist in a lot of ways, whether it's fundraising, strategic partnership, or otherwise marketing, promotion. I want to thank them as well. The team, our shareholders. I think I have the most exciting investors/shareholders. They put me under a lot of pressure to perform, but I'll continue to deliver. And our customers, just continue to look out for social initiatives in your communities from Dolla Financial. And again, just want to thank everybody who took the time out to join us for a 9 a.m. call on a Thursday. And I look forward to seeing everyone and more for Q2 earnings call for Dolla Financial Services. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Kadeen Mears, CEO of Dolla Financial Services. Dolla was formed to open doors. Our mission is to make getting the money you need a quick and easy process. When life comes at you fast, you can count on us in your time of need. We provide financial services for those with a vision and those on a mission. No matter if it's a business loan or personal loan, small or medium, once you want to grow, we lend. Over the past 7 years, Dolla has played a vital role in the microfinance market, disbursing more than $3 billion in loans to more than 5,000 Jamaicans. We will continue to play our part in the growth and development of Jamaica and the Caribbean by providing financing support to all entrepreneurs. Whether it's a short-term loan until your next payday or a long-term business loan, visit us at Dolla Financial Services. Remember, we lend.